All right, folks. Thank you for watching us today. The Patriot and the Lama, episode 3. We're going to be talking about frequencies. We're going to be talking about good and bad frequencies. We've got a special guest and someone I've known now for many, many years, Mr. Steve Lepkowski, founder of Bodyline, who's an expert in frequencies. He'll give you a little bit of a background about himself, but also we're going to get the Lama's, background on the frequency side and the energy side. So this is going to be awesome. You're going to learn a lot. Make sure you get your pad out and your pen and take some notes, because this is going to be some unbelievable information for you to help you protect yourself against these bad frequencies that you're bombarded by. And Steve will get into that. Master Lama Raji will get into that. And this is going to be an hour long, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So I want to introduce, again, Steve Lepkowski, and all of you, hopefully, that have come to the show before, Master Lama Raji. Okay? So, Steve, in starting, why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself when it comes to, frequencies and also energy wellness, your studying of it, and then how you got involved in it.
Sure, Jimmie. It goes back quite a ways. I'm a 60-year-old man, and I've studied energy for the last 15 years. But prior to that, I was an engineer. My mind is an engineer. I was born an engineer. I had to search and find the connection. Why did this stepping on the gas pedal of my dad's car, little old Carmen Ghia, why did that make the engine go? And I was always excited about it. As farther back we would go, I could see how things were connected and how things were working. And that's where biology and energy medicine kind of come together. And I'll talk a little bit about that. I went on to college, became a mechanical engineer, but mostly a person that studied the materials characteristics. And I ended up in a company called Texas Instruments down in Dallas. This is back in the early 80s when we were all excited about a 8K DRAM or a 16K DRAM. Today we're talking terabits in RAM and not down at the small particles. So I watched as technology evolved, and every 18 months we doubled the capability. We had 4 simultaneous design teams going to keep track of all the DRAMs and all the products that we were doing. I ended up in a group that started looking at ways to integrate computer chips so we could have a smaller, faster, more efficient cell phone. We worked at a little company called Nokia and helped them create some of the chips that are still used today. The intellectual property still used, but we shrunk it and we integrated around it. So I have a vast career in how cell phone technology works. From the time you hold a product in your hand to what happens through what happens through the air to the top of the cell tower, down the cell tower to the fiber optics across the network and make a connection. So what I started seeing was we were emitting these large packets of EMFs, electromotive forces or frequencies. But I want you to think about them as forces, about information and frequencies hitting the body, okay? So they were forces. They're actually measurable forces. I can bring out a trimeter and I can see what those frequencies are. And anytime that we have a frequency operating, we actually have a mechanical and an energetic force hitting the body or hitting the antenna. All cell phones, all wireless communication works because we energetically charge the air, we make an electromagnetic frequency, and we blast it from the transmitter to the receiver and vice versa. So we have to have EMFs. We have to have them to make it work. When I retired from Texas Instruments, I ended up in a little town called Virginia Beach, the home of the Edgar Cayce Center, for the folks that really can connect to what energy was, and some of the first modern seers, modern people that could see what energy was doing. Now, if I truly wanted to immerse myself in what was going on, I'd have to live with you, or I'd have to end up in China, where I could deeply study how the energies of the universe, let's call it chi for this discussion, okay, how that energy impacted us biologically. So I went off, spent 3 or 4 years just researching what this chi was, what this energy was. And if you watch The Big Bang Theory, this is a lot where you see string theory and the ability to connect how things could be, where physicists today can't connect the 2 types of physics that we have. We have particle physics and we have wave physics. And today we can't unify them. So you can watch all sorts of channels on in YouTube to talk about people, what string theory is and how we're trying to unify. So even today, physics can't explain the ultimate creation of the world, the ultimate creation of how we are in existence. So it doesn't take many keystrokes to go on Google and find that we absolutely don't know anything about energy. We don't know very much about frequencies. We just know they exist in nature. So guys like me, we just get into it. And I spent hours and hours and ended up going back to Tesla, where Tesla believed there was a way that he could communicate cell to cell and DNA to DNA through longitudinal scalar waves. Now, folks, you can run out on the internet and find what longitudinal scalar waves are, but that's not nearly as important to what happens next. So let's say I could create a frequency, and I could make that frequency create a biological response, like a lullaby can create a positive biological response, versus music that isn't connected. It isn't choreographed. It's just random noises. And how that can be aggravating and change our biology. So I want you to make some parallels to what sound is, okay, to what frequencies are, now they impact the body. So if I wanted to impact the body, say, for improved metabolism, I would give it chemical cinnamon. I could give it chemical chromium picolinate, and or I could give them energetic. I could give the body the presence of that, and just the energetic presence of that will force the core body temperature up. That's what cinnamon does to us. That's what chromium picolinate does. It turns on the fire in the body. Okay, so I can create these biological responses by frequencies. Now, I have a way of creating frequencies. I have a way of understanding frequencies and how they can make the body behave. Now, the expertise rolls in, and about 12 years ago, I started worrying more about biology than I worried about the physics associated with what I'm doing. Now, Lama, you get this. You get this, totally understand that. Who cares about how it happens? It just happens. But you understand that a positive frequency can have a very different reaction in the body than a negative frequency, right? And consciousness, the ability for the body to absorb those frequencies, is really important, right? So now I said, you know what? I need to be a biologist. I need to understand what chromium picolinate can do to the body, and whether that would be a good frequency or a bad frequency. How I can take the Schwinn resonance and use that as a way for the body to get reconnected, to get rebalanced. So our body is energetically, chemically, spiritually, socially, economically, all has these homeostatic points, these points by which we're in balance, just like we would a checking account. And imagine now that we could create a biological force that could push our bodies to a biological homeostasis by connecting at the cellular level, at the molecular level, and at the cellular level inside our bodies, and at the organ level, and then at the system level. So now meridians that run down our body, I can connect them and make the biological changes that we want happen in a human. So I became the biological whiz associated with signaling. I have 29 journals now where I've captured this frequency creates this biological change. So let me give you an example, good and bad. And Lama, inject in here anytime you'd like. Let's say that I wanted to give men a boost of muscle mass, and I want to boost them with something that would provide better sleep, better metabolism, better every day of life. And today you go to your doctor and he would give you synthetic hormone called testosterone, and you'd rub it on, and then he'd say, don't go near anybody, okay? Because if that gets on them, it's going to create a chemical biological response. So if you're a 68-year-old man or a 65-year-old man, you would worry about PSA. So if I was to say, hey, biologist, signal this guy the presence of testosterone, okay, this is really important, folks. I could signal them the presence of testosterone, but guess what would happen? If he had cancer, the cancer gets triggered by the presence of testosterone. So prostate cancer, in order to stop its spread, doctors' medicine will go in and prescribe for you estrogen, and that totally, it's like a chemical castration. It shuts off all the production of testosterone. So a guy like me can actually take a frequency of testosterone and broadcast it into the body, and I guarantee you those cells that are now cancerous are going to start to grow because they feel the presence of it. They don't have to have the chemical to grow. They don't need any of that. They just need glycogen. They need ATP. They need all the other parts that the body's already providing. They get it, but they're signaled to turn on to start to grow. Well, somebody in my field that knows what they're doing would say, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to give them the precursors. androstenedione and norandrostenedione and other frequencies that are precursors, and let the testes, a man's testes, make as much or as little testosterone as the body needs to. So I will help eliminate bad diet, bad exercise, obesity. I will help eliminate that by signaling the presence of androstenedione and norandrostenedione and not natural or synthetic hormones into the body. This is what Jimmie and Lama, this is what differentiates me from everyone else, is I look at the whole body. I look at the total frequency pattern of the body, and I want to make certain that we have not picked parts of the body where we can create a negative frequency, okay, or a positive frequency that creates a negative metabolic change or a negative energetic change. So I'm a big fan of always looking at the whole picture and making certain that I just don't turn you on with a frequency to make sure it's the frequency that will make a positive biological response and not a negative one. So I want folks, as you think about this, I want you to think about a lullaby versus your favorite rock and roll song versus unscripted music. You know that every one of those can have a different reaction in the body. A lullaby is going to bring us down. It's like verbal melatonin. It's going to move our bodies down a level. Whereas our favorite rock song is likely going to kick us up and pump our energy up. The adrenals and the vasovagal nerve is going to start firing everything, and your heart rate's going to go up, and you're going to feel it. Now, when you hear this scratchiness of unconnected music, your body goes in the opposite direction, right? You are now miserable, and you've created a negative biological change. Frequencies, music, everything across the spectrum, and at the end of the spectrum where physics today can't really make a good connection, we have a gap there because particles come here and waves come over here. We jump over to chi. And now chi is our ability to create the energetic connection between ourselves, between our bodies, and most importantly, Jimmie, between each other, right?
Oh, yeah.
We are now able to do that. And what Tesla said was, it's instantaneous. Right now, I'm looking at Dr. Lama, and I'm sitting here going, he knows exactly what I'm thinking. He knows exactly what energy frequency I'm on. He knows, he can see it, but he also can feel it, right? And
Even through the internet.
No, it just his desire to connect and my desire to be connected to can make that happen. And it's instantaneous. The Russians treated cosmonauts in space with technology they called Spooky 2, which was just simply frequencies of good natural things that the body needed. Why their DNA here on Earth? Okay, Jimmie, this technology's been around.
Oh,
a
yeah.
long time.
And we're gonna hear from Lama Raji here about this too, because what's neat, Steve, I've known you for a long time, and I've learned about energy wellness from you, a lot from you, and from what we do together. And I've always been a person that believes that, what you put out, you get back. So if you're negative and you're always talking negative about people and you're insulting people and you're talking negative about yourself and, oh, I'm so sick and I'm this and I don't have no money and I'm that, you get what you put out. Exactly. And I've seen it with the products that you've developed, which we're going to go over later. I'm seeing these testimonials, and, I believe that, my heart, we're souls having a human experience. When you look at us at the most powerful telescope or microscope you can look, we're vibrating particles of energy. We're 70% water with energy. And now, Master Lama Raji, talk about, what Steve kind of like, how energy. You can actually do things that, being one of 12 lamas in the world and actually being the spokesperson for the Lamasery globally, and 50 years, into what you do, kind of talk to people about the energy and what Steve's talking about. And I've heard energy medicine, energy wellness is 100 times more powerful than anything you could put in your mouth or on your skin. And you even said to me the other day when, because we talk daily, you said, Jimmie, it's not necessarily what you put in your mouth that makes the difference. It's your energy in your field. So Can you talk to folks about that now?
Yeah, well, it's wonderful. I mean, I felt like I was back in school listening to Stephen, or I was in Tibet again. So I love his enthusiasm and his passion, and I can understand why he's so successful, because that passion is what drives us. But here is a basic thing. Modern medicine today, especially Western medicine that we know was based in European, medicine. You know, they talk about the 7 systems of the body, right? Well, if we were to look at the chi or the meridian grid, then we could say that's the 8th system of the body. In reality, what's going to be uncovered in the next several years, and by the way, people, Steve will be one of the first people to uncover this because where he's headed is actually 12 systems in the body, because electrobiometric body that we actually are have 12 energy vortexes that the yoga world calls chakra, which is the Sanskrit word for means wheel that spins. Now watch this. So let's just stay right now with the 7. So with the 7, there corresponds a psychic glandular system that we could call an endocrine chakra system. Right. And so, you know, my 5th energy system center, which is referred to as the power center, actually houses the thyroids and the parathyroids. Now, if there's a malfunction between the psychic energy body and the physical glands, then I actually to the universe am either saying consciously or unconsciously how much frequency that I even want in the physical body itself. I could unconsciously be doing this as if the energy is like a vampire saying, I don't want anything to do with you. And I don't even know that I'm doing that because everyone's only operating when it comes to their mind and their spiritual facility about what Einstein said, which is about 15 to 18%. But what happens is we become more conscious. As we become more aware, the desire to go from the caterpillar to the butterfly, which is the very age that we're in, all of a sudden, just that desire, as Stephen said, begins to awaken within us. So if we were in the golden age right now, which the last golden age was 12 to 24,000 years ago, we've been descending since then. The next golden age is only 2 to 6,000 a year. We're in that second level of consciousness. What does that mean? What is going on in our atmosphere? Well, this is one of the reasons Stephen's getting so excited. We're being bombarded by emissions, you could say, from the Holy Spirit, if I wanted to be scriptural. And every day, these light emissions, I can remember the first time I started seeing them. I was on a honeymoon with my first wife. And I remember we were on the beach and I was laying out and I could literally see liquid molecules dancing in the space in front of me. Well, I kind of knew that that's what the Lamas were talking about. I'd already been to Tibet, but here I was at 27 years old, newly married, and I'm trying to think, what is going on? Well, fast forward about 7 years later, when my wife's kid brother was killed in a boating accident, I go home after spending about 10, 12 hours with a mother mourning over the loss of the son. And I'm like, I got to get out of this, what I call kind of chewing gum emotional energy. I need a break. So I told my wife, I said, you know, I love you, but I need to go take a break. So it was time for me to go get in the tub, put candles with fire all around, knowing what that was going to do to cleanse my energy body of all the emotional garbage that I had taken on the last 24 hours. Lo and behold, all of a sudden, I noticed that I'm light, buoyant as a candle. But all of a sudden, I'm looking up and I'm thinking, how come the ceiling is so close to my head? Without beknownst to me, I was floating up off the water, and half of my physical body from the chest down was completely dematerialized. Now I'm looking around, and guess what I see again in my energy body? These liquid dancing molecules, And I'm experiencing what yoga masters have experienced for years. I'm going through the transition of backtracking into the very vibration of creation that we are. And when I'm looking in my energy body, it looks like the atom. It's going, it's swirling, and I'm seeing sparkles of diamonds, emerald clusters, but it looks like liquid light is the only way to describe it. I knew it again. Now watch what happens. My wife is with her mother, but when you're in the altered state, you have supersonic seeing, you have supersonic hearing. Their house was 4 miles away from our house, and I heard her literally call to me as if she was on a speakerphone and say, "Don't leave me. Don't, not now with what I'm going through. Don't leave me." And my heart, like any other empathetic heart, knowing what she was going through, it sought to come to her. The moment I did, everything filled in, and boom, I was flat on the floor next to the bathtub. I had literally fell from the ceiling. And I'm looking around. To say that I was humble, well, is probably the most understatement. Let me shift gears real fast so that we can pivot into the next thing. People understand, again, if we're just staying simple today, we have 7 energy centers. There's 7 notes in a musical scale. There's 7 basic colors of the rainbow. They all go together. If we do not think the universe, if we do not think God the Father, God the Mother, and God the Son are organized, it's all organized. And it's in a rhythmic dance of energy that is moving through us, that this torch inside of us, that the Sanskrit word for soul is sharat. And it says, it's just this beacon of light thinking, come home. Here I am. Come home. I'm calling you. I have something for you to do. Don't you remember what you were supposed to do when you took on this incarnation? Well, I applaud Steve greatly because obviously Stephen has done enough meditation, enough self-reflection to listen to his inner self. And the most powerful thing that we can all do, Jimmie, and you know how passionate I am about this, is that God put in all of our hearts something to do to change the world for the better.
Yes, yes.
It's all about, he told me a long time ago, the Lamas teach this, there's really only 2 professions in the world, and everything else is a splinter of these 2 professions. We are all healers and we are all teachers. We are all healers and we are all teachers. And when you understand the teaching comes from that masculine energy rising up the spine, the yang energy that's going through the governing vessel of the acupuncture meridian, the conceptional, the waterfall energy that comes down the front of the body. When you think of healing, think of the most intricate mother that's taking a child in her arms and just hugging and loving on them until they're all better. That's within us all if we will feed that and if we'll be still enough and know who and what we are. Back to you, Jimmie.
Yeah, and I want to make a comment here, and I got another question for Steve. Most of us are suffocating and dehydrated. And, as I have been becoming more aware of that, doing the breathing exercises that you taught me, Master Lama Rasaji, and, we're talking and, moving into doing that. I told you the weight's starting to fall off of me. You noticed it. My wife's noticing it. My shirts are noticing it. My pants are noticing it. The clarity of thought is increasing. It's just a lot of good stuff happening just by breathing through, where your stomach rises and you're taking it in the breath to the nose and out to the mouth. Just by doing that and then making sure that it's not when I'm thirsty that I drink. It's that I drink throughout the day
Right.
at specific times every hour. And just those two things alone have done just amazing things for me personally. Now, we had one guy I just threw out of here that just said nuts, so I'm going to tell everybody when you see that comment, I'm throwing him out. Because the one thing about me too is that it's all about love and light, okay? Most of these people that say this is not right or that's not right or this is not right, they're broke, they're living in mommy's basement or grandma and grandpa's basement, and they're not doing anything to help the
Don't
world.
worry about him, Jimmie.
No, but you know what? The one thing about it is that we have to call out the people that are negative, and I remove them from my life. So just so you understand, I weed my garden, whether it's family, business partners, friends. You start with I'm a victor. I'm not a victim, and I don't have a victim mentality. So, that's one of the biggest problems we have also right now is all of the negative energy from this population that basically has been brainwashed with this victim mentality of woe is me. And then they're in that spot because they're putting out that negative vibration.
Yeah, Jimmie, let me just for a second before we shift gears, speak to the heat that you're experiencing. And I wanted to share this also with Stephen because I know he knows all about this. So in scripture, it says we're born of water and we're born of fire. Okay, so the second birth, if we were in the golden age, should actually be happening the same time puberty is happening. Okay, so we call Jesus in the Lama series Master Rabbi Jesus. Well, Jesus was the only being in the dark time of the Kali Yuga that when puberty hit, his kundalini set on fire at the same time. Most of us, when we know somebody, we're later in years. Sometimes menopause is the last call for us to regenerate and stimulate the kundalini. So understand that the navel is the cord of water, but there is a psychic cord that is between the sternum and the navel. And when you breathe from that place, it's what we call in Tibet, it's dumo. It means fire in the belly. So you've literally breathing the fire breath, you're connecting with your energy body, and it is burning the fat in your physical body down. So I just wanted to address.
And why you're saying that is because, it's happening to me right now too. And I've been having the air conditioning at 68 degrees and I got the fans blowing and all of that. And I asked you, what's going on with me? I'm like on fire. I feel I'm not burning like you would feel like a fire burning your skin, but I'm literally I'm like heat. I'm like, I can feel the heat coming off of my body. And breathing, what I've done is I just started the breathing stuff.
Tai Chi Gong, one of the first area is stimulated is it wakes up your lymph node system. It just totally wakes it up. So if you understand that anybody that ever contacts cancer, they automatically have a form of lymph node cancer, and the cancer they're being diagnosed with is the weakness of the system they have in their body. But they already have lymph node cancer, maybe not to the degree that the pathologist would say you've got lymph node cancer. But if you understand how the lymph node system is part of your autoimmune system, especially when it comes to cancer. So we stimulate the lymph node and you can feel all the energy right underneath the skin. Remember, there's more lymph node fluid in the body than blood. So you're passing through. The next thing that it does, since it immediately affects the psychic endocrine gland system, as water seeks its own level, it would remain to be seen that the next thing it's going to do is stimulate what? Your endocrine gland system in your physical. When we examine, now I'm in your dojo, Jimmie, when we examine what the endocrine gland system is to the physical body, well, it's the software of the human body. And if you're stimulating that again, I can't tell you how many women have come to train with me in their 50s and 60s. After 6 months, 18 months of training, they come back to me and says, Lama Rasaji, I got to tell you something that you're not going to believe. And I said, I look in their face. I already know what they're getting ready to say because I've heard it so much for 4 decades. I said, you're starting to have your women's cycle again, aren't you? And they said, yes. And I haven't had it in 10 years. Had one lady, and this addresses what we had on our webinar on Friday teaching when she asked about limbs being removed and what happens to the energy grid. And we talked about how it's still in place. Well, I've had ladies come to me and say my ovaries were removed and I started having my monthly cycle again. Now, if that didn't tell you everything, the most basic thing that it'll tell you, and this I know Stephen will love, is that Tai Chi Gong is one of the most regenerative systems on the planet. That's why I'm so excited about working with Stephen, because I have a feeling we're getting ready to build an energy relationship that's going to go off the charts.
Well, and we're going to get to Steve now. With you two, I'm just like very excited, you know, myself personally, because I see what Steve's doing. I read these reviews on the sleep, the sleep patch and the pain patch. I actually have it on my top of my spine in here, and man, I wouldn't be without it. And then the repair and all of this stuff, and the testimonies coming in. That's why I know energy wellness, energy medicine is the way. You know, having your arsenal of good songs. Steve was talking about music. I tell people, when that stinking thinking starts entering your mind, play some music that you sing along with. You feel good. Get yourself back into a positive situation so that's the vibration you're casting out. Play positive frequencies in your room, in your office. I have them on my computer back there. I play them almost every single day. So you've got to fill your matter. Steve, if I play, say, like a 432 hertz, will it absorb into the matter around me as I'm playing it?
Many substances can absorb frequencies and rebroadcast it. That's why we use Mylar in a lot of our products, because that substance just is really good about absorbing and permanently configuring itself to a different vibration. So the answer is yes, Jimmie, you can do that. Silver is very good. There's some other ones in nature that look to be very good. Most crystals can be modified such that it will provide you with a different frequency, but necessarily doesn't hold that charge, that ability for a very long time. So, but I want to comment, and folks, I want to connect the Jimmie, who's had the experience, Lama, who's created the experience, but I want to put it in your terms. If you are over the age of 45 and you find yourself gaining weight, I want you to measure your core body temperature. And that is at the same time every day, measure it. Not that it's below 98.6. Because what happens is our metabolism slows, the fire goes down. The actual physical fire, the temperature in your body. There's not a single person that I know, okay, that is heavier than they need to be or out of sight over the age of 45 that can't tell me my natural body temperature is 97.2. Guys, a calorie in our body is a unit of heat. Okay, it's not a unit of energy like I can fight. It's a unit of heat. All calories are burned in the body as heat. Caloric was at one time their belief that heat ran from one source to another. Okay, and they called it caloric. It was a fluid, they thought was happening. So, Jimmie, what Lama has done with you is re-engage the system in your body. I bet if you took your temperature before and after, this sweating, this heat that you get is your body's own desire to get back to its DNA 98.6. So, folks, if you are aged and you have pounds to lose, I want you to look at chemical, energetic ways, frequency-based ways of tuning on your own system to put fire in the belly, to reconnect the systems. Your body temperature will go up. Now, Lama, there's not an acupuncturist in the world today They can't diagnose what system is screwed up and can't put energy through his needles to remove or add energies to rebalance the body. And the next day, people can see their core body temperatures going up. We can force it to go up with chromium picolinate, massive amounts of cinnamon. We can drive it that way. There's some other natural things that we can have that can drive it. But guess what? Mostly they're just turning on the energetic piece to go do that. So now the guy, the hypothalamus, okay, that helps drive all of that activity is going, oh, I'm going to reset now. After about 90 days, it's going to reset. Jimmie, after 90 days, your body is no longer struggling to fight that. It says, here's my new set point. 90 days later, it's got a new set point. And it's going to get back to a mode where you may not have to fight it, okay, like you have. So this is interesting. It goes from, I've got the proof that it happened. Lama, you designed it as though it's an energetic world, right? Just by breathing and reconnecting, okay, and igniting the fire in the belly, right?
Right.
And the biology that actually proves that it happened. Okay, folks, I challenge you, and Mom, I hope before we go, you can give us an exercise where people could actually say, I'm going to do this, measure my core body temperature, 4 or 5 days in a row, pick the exact same time, do the exercises that you're talking about, and I guarantee you'll see a 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. Hopefully I can get you back to 98.6. Because when we looked at weight loss as a hologram to put on, we did exactly what you were talking about. We looked at ways that we could turn the system back on, the fire back on, such that people would have that response. So at one time we had a hologram, different from men and women. You would wear that and people would say instantly they could feel the fire coming on. They were hotter. Now, I knew that was good for them because that meant they were burning calories, right? To keep the fire at a higher level. 1 calorie is the amount of energy it takes to take 1 milliliter of water up 1 degree. So we have now taken think how many calories are burned when your body temperature goes up 1 degree. That's a ton of calories. But Jimmie, to maintain it, the higher the temperature, the more the body sheds. So at 97.1, it might shed, say, 100 calories per hour because it's hotter than the surrounding area. You're sweating. It's pushing off heat. At 98.6 degrees, it's probably 110 calories in order for your body, because the bigger temperature differential, right, that we have, the more heat that's going to pass through our bodies. So the higher we stoke it, the more heat that's going to get dissipated, and the more calories our body needs. So we get the instantaneous, raise it up, and now this fire is burning and it's shedding calories. You're burning calorie after calorie.
Exactly. And here's the key, and people probably have heard the stories, but it's true. One real extreme winter in Tibet, we had 12 llamas lay out on the ground, do the angel thing, and make a 12-point star in the snow, right? And then they had an aerial photo taken of, and you could see 3 feet around the llama. They had raised their body temperature so much they melted all the snow. So when you took the footage, you could see it looked like somebody had gone outwardly and drawn a frame around all the llamas. It had actually created a melted gully, as if somebody had dug a ditch around all 12 llamas, and they themselves with their body made it, right? Now, I'm going to bet you if they would have shot that with curling photography, that the llamas would have been glowing.
Yeah.
They would have literally been glowing. But here's the other thing, and people are going to love when I say this. Well, about the same age period of most humans, one of the things that makes us age is what happens to our DHEA building blocks after about 25 to 35 years old. Also, what is happening to stem cell reproduction. This fire breath stimulates both DHEA function in the body, and it stimulates stem cell response. It rekindles. I've already told you that a good period of months, it can get the hypothalamus, which we know is a thermostat in the body. When we take the middle finger, the meridian that runs through the middle finger, in ancient traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture medicine, it's referred to, you're going to love this, as the triple warmer meridian. That is the thermostat in the human body. Lama Rasaji, are you trying to say that you have the ability to control the thermostat of your human body? And I'm going to say, that's not all I'm saying. But I will challenge anybody to connect with me on Facebook. I was one of the first 100,000 people to ever get with my first account on Facebook. For years, people say, why are you leaving all your pictures and your videos up, Lama? I said, proof. You can go back and see that. I had a lady the other day who tried to guess my age at a restaurant. My wife's from the Philippines, from the island of Cebu, and which both one of the most beautiful islands in the world, with one of the most beautiful. She had a sister from Cebu meet us for dinner, and we were eating dinner, and so she was teasing about the age differences between everybody. And so my wife asked her, guess the Lama's age. And she kept guessing. Well, she was 12 to 16 years off. And when we told her the age, I literally had to take my driver's license out of my wallet. You should have seen the look on her eyes. Now, if you want more proof of that, if you got the guts, hook up with me and go down and see the physical proof. And you will see in the last 10 to 12 years, the Lama's been getting 6 years younger. And all my biological functions of my physicals rate me somewhere in the 30s, a healthy 30 years old. And it's just my skin is gradually catching on. The only thing I'm aging is my goatee.
Yeah, you can
well, you
say
have that follically challenged world. So
well, I'm waiting not to be you guys yet with that, but maybe soon that's going to happen.
I think you're safe now, Jimmie. So
okay, so I want to talk about so everything around us is energy. Frequencies, whether they're negative or positive, have a biological effect on our body. That's not a question anymore. That science has proven that. Steve, you've had so many different studies you've done also. That, you were talking about you could affect somebody up in space with their DNA down on Earth. I mean, we don't even understand the quantum side of this connection of what's going on here. I mean, literally you have their DNA down here on Earth and they're treating their DNA here and it's helping them in space. It's connected to them. So, you're an expert in EMFs, and, I've learned a lot about EMFs, and they're not our friends. I understand that they're part
necessary.
of. Yeah. Well, they're not our friends wellness wise. They are right now our friend pushing data and giving us the ability to talk around the world with the cell phones and all of that. But you educated me on the fact that these EMFs literally will shut down. I guess it's ATP, right? The ATP channel in your cell, and will not allow the nutrition to come in and the waste to go out. So basically it starves the cell and kills it, right? Can you give us a little bit because most people don't, what are EMFs? What are they for? And I know that we have stuff, that helps with that, with Bodyline, but also, can you talk about that, protecting themselves? But first, what is it? What does it do to you and all of that?
Right. So EMFs are simply the way science describes an electromotive force. Okay, it's a wave, a frequency wave, and it's got a height and a low, and it's created by an antenna. There's always an antenna. We're going to push energy in. There's a crystal that will oscillate, and that voltage on that antenna will go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down and down. And in the case of 3G, it was maybe 6 gigabits per second. In the case of 5G, it's 30 to 60 gigabits per second. So these are very fast, very relatively low energy, but very, very fast. Okay. Now I'm going to take you back. Lama, I know that you look much younger than you are, you know what a crystal radio is? So when I was a kid, Jimmie, I had a coil and a piece of carbon inside it, and it had a little pin on it, and I could move it in and out. Had a white earbud, okay, in my ear, and I could hear the Yankees play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was grounded on one end to the heat in our house because we had copper baseboard heat, and I could hear. That should be proof enough that actual physical energy, enough to create sound in your ears, happening without any amplification. With just the fact that that antenna is broadcasting it up and down. A crystal radio, a single crystal. And before that, that's all we had. And then this guy at a company called Texas Instruments created a transistor. They created the first transistor radio that could say, we're going to take a little bit of that frequency and able to amplify it so you can hear it much louder. But ultimately, it's the transfer of energy from one antenna to another antenna at a frequency. In AM radio, you're dialing in the frequency. FM radio, you're dialing in the frequency. In 5G, the government says, here's your frequency band. You can operate there. Okay? And they got AT&T and Verizon and everybody running through that band and says, we're going to make frequencies happen. A lot of time, these frequencies like AM radio, they're either too small to really affect us very much, or they're too big that they pass right through us, and it really doesn't create a significant biological impact. Well, in our technology, I'm responsible for this at 1G, 2G, 3G. We were creating frequencies that were higher and higher, meaning they have less punch to go through you, or they started going deep enough they would have absorbed in the bone, that more dense structures in the body. So now we're at 5G, and science will tell you this is not a Steve thing, that maybe it goes 3 or 4 millimeters deep into the skin. Okay? Well, Jimmie, take a knife, please. You get a chance, grab a knife here. Okay? I'm going to call back on you. I want you to cut yourself 4 millimeters deep and tell me what happens. Right? It's blood. It's the lymphatic system. So now we are taking this energy. It's enough for me to listen to a radio. Okay? It's enough to create a vibratory relationship, whatever's listening to it. Okay? Our iron is rich in iron. Our blood is rich in iron. Therefore, those molecules love to sit there and they start vibrating. And what happens? They create heat. They create tension. They create a change in the metabolic situation in the blood. Okay? And what we see happening is that the cell at the energetic level starts to lock up that ATP channel, as you refer to it, the calcium channel in medicine, we would call it. But it's simply the way the mitochondria operates to allow the free flow of oxygen and carbon dioxide, glycogen, okay, or ketones, if you're on a ketogenic diet, allow the nutrition that the body needs in and out. And we can disrupt that. We can actually, over prolonged experience, we can kill the DNA in those cells. We can modify the DNA. We can unleash it. And we talked a lot about the jab and how it uses messenger RNA, right? The vaccine. And that simply is a replica of the cell's DNA used to go out and do something. It gets into the bloodstream. It finds partners. It creates a protein. Okay. The actual DNA doesn't do that.
And let's not talk too much about that there, brother, because we're staying on the.
Well, I'm just getting into.
Yeah. No, you're right.
What's happening to the body.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
no judgment. But so what's happened is EMS can modify that or change its behavior or essentially kill it or unwind the DNA. This is not a hypothesis, folks. This is proven in labs. It's proven. The Madame Curie Center in France has all shown that EMS can do negative things to the body because of their vibratory nature and their high frequency. And unfortunately, 5G means that they're only a few millimeters deep into the body, which means that they are vibrating the heck out of our blood, okay? Which is a bad, most important substance in our body besides the lymphatic system. They got to be together. You can't have one without the other. So I think it's really important to recognize that that's where the damage is happening. So we created products, Jimmie, that I watched and says, what's happening to the blood and how can I reverse that? And that's what I did. That's what my work over the last 12 years was, to look at ways to take this disruption of energy and this physical change and this chemical change in the body, and how do we neutralize that, right? One of the things that we see is the pH of the blood very locally at the cellular level starts to drop, acidic. There's not a single person that should be listening to this doesn't realize that acidic blood is the harbor of a lot of bad things to our body, okay? Dis-ease in our body. Whereas 7.2 to 7.6 is a wonderful pH for our body to remain in homeostasis. So what do? We make sure the liver and the kidneys and the pituitary turned on so we can say, hey, your body, your pH is fallen. You got some magnesium and sodium and calcium stores in your body. They're all basic. They love to interact with acids and make a base. You know, what the output is a base. It'll lower the pH, burn up the acid. It'll take the pH back up to 7.2 at a very localized level. I can dump a couple molecules into the cell and neutralize the acidity being formed. It's not rocket science. It's just signaling. It's getting the body to do it. And when you pull a cell phone to your ear, your body's getting 4 to 8 times the dose that it might be getting if the phone was across the room. So what we made that big old hologram that's the size of a silver dollar, 3 or 4 times the transmission the capability than we have in our smaller holograms, because we know that you're getting on bombarding. You're using up, okay, those frequencies, the body's using them, and you need more and more and more because that cell phone is just bombarding you. When it goes back to sleep mode, it's not as bad, and their body can start to recover, and our products push the body to go do that. So, Jimmie, it's a negative cellular event. You don't have to be Steve Lepkowski and see my white papers on it, which you can just go to the Google, right? EMF damage at the cellular level, and you'll see tons and tons.
Well, it's on Gov. It's on PubGov. I mean, it's up on the government site with a bunch of different studies showing that this thing's destroying people's DNA and causing all kinds of havoc and chaos and mayhem. And from what I understand is this EMF's strength, because of the 5G, is increasing 5 to 10 times in power. Is that a true statement?
Right. So, yeah, let me give you a little analogy to that. We created 5G so we could move a lot more data back and forth and have a better internet experience. Okay, that's why we created it. That's why 6G and 7G are there more and more and more. Okay, but you can only go a certain distance. The more frequency you have, the less distance that it goes. Great data. Now we got to compensate for that. What do? You got to crank up the power. So instead of 5 watts of power to go 5 feet, you now need 50 watts of power to go 5 feet. Okay. And what happens now is the body outside of that frequency in the cell phone enjoying downloading your favorite video or watching our telecast here. Now the body's getting this energy bombarded. So the cell companies went to densification. That is, move small cell antennas closer and closer and closer to the users. Okay. And I'm excited about that because I get a better experience. I hate that because it's now putting more negative power closer to me. So it used to be a 60-watt light bulb that was a quarter mile away. You could see it, but it didn't have 3G and 2G, didn't have enough that it really did much. Then we went to 4G, made more towers, and we put a 100-watt light bulb on there and said, okay, you can see this better now. It's brighter and it's closer. Now 5G is going to do the same thing. It's going to be super, super close. It's going to be super, super fast, and it's going to be super, super high power, and it's going to totally dominate the metabolic situation in the body. So you're getting closer, you're getting a higher frequency that's going splashing right at your blood. Okay, so it's closer, faster, and more powerful. Now I hope 7G or 8G is enough that the hairs on our body or the lotion or the oils that we have on our body is enough to absorb that energy and it doesn't get into our body. So maybe as the science goes, we'll design our way out of this problem. But for now, there is absolutely no argument, okay, that EMF cause a problem. Okay, nobody wants to freely admit it. Nobody wants to. And I'll tell you, Jimmie, the first time that I got to experience the technology that I create, I stood on the Great Wall of China with morning Tai Chi. Okay, it was in a program that brought me to the Great Wall of China. I slept there, woke up in the morning, we did our Tai Chi, and I picked up my cell phone and I called my family back in Dallas, Texas. I was there for Texas Instruments. We were launching a new technology for a company called Ericsson. Stood there and I got the sound of my son's voice. I had 3 boys. What meant more to me than the risk, the metabolic risk to me. Okay, I didn't even understand it at the time, but I'm never going to give up the sound of my son's voice or the opportunity to speak to people and connect with people. So now the key is I just need to protect myself.
Yep.
And that's why we created the filters that we did, the technology we did to allow it. We do not screw with EMF waves. And anybody claims that they do, you better understand that your cell phone shouldn't work if they do that. If they signal to the body, if they do what you did with Jimmie and turn on the fire in the belly to raise the body temperature, it shouldn't be a far stretch that I can turn on the body with hundreds of frequencies, okay, in that hologram to turn on the body to have a very similar result, to overcome the negative energy that's happening as these 5Gs hit our body.
Well, and you know what? I want to say something, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about this. We'll go over a little bit today for sure. So I got this device, okay, after the weather storm we had here, where we were basically living in our car here in Austin, where nobody, all the electric went down in Texas on almost everybody. I said, I need to get, with all the things we got going on, I need to get this hotspot. I need to get a hotspot. So I got this T-Mobile hotspot. I'm doing the wrong thing. And so I put this T-Mobile hotspot next to me, and I had not at that time put the EMF discs, the Cell Protect disc, on that. And I have it on my computer. I have it over here on my modem. I have it. I just got a new 5G cell phone. I put it on there immediately, but I didn't put it on here. And I had it right next to me, right? And I'm telling you, I felt like it was on this side. So this side here, my left side, and it was burning me. I was like, what the? And so I put 2 of them on there because I was like, whoa, because I had no experience with 5G, okay? None, 0, until this device came in.
Well, you
I
have
just got
a lot
the phone.
of 5G. 5G's been hitting your body for years now, Jimmie. They've been on the cell towers.
I know, but this
much
thing,
lower
I don't know
dose.
why did that happen to me though?
Well,
Because-
when that ramps up from standby mode to communication mode, it dumps 4 or 5 times the energy out. So you're getting it much closer, much stronger with the cell towers giving you. But your body's had the taste of 5G for a long time.
Oh, it was crazy. And I mean, I was like, wow, okay.
Well, Jimmie, you don't need 2 filters.
No,
on
I
this.
know I don't, but I was like,
well,
I know I don't, but I was nervous about it. And, I was really nervous about it because, I see all these reviews and testimonials about the effects that this EMF situation's having on people, the tiredness, the headaches, all this stuff that they're experiencing. And if you just look at EMF, sickness or EMF symptoms on Google or DuckDuckGo, I mean, you see this stuff. This is not Jimmie Schwinn saying it or Steve Lepkowski saying it or Master Lama Raji saying it. It is a fact. And what people don't understand is, like, let me talk about a little bit what I do to protect myself besides the body align technology that you put together, Steve. And now I'm super freaking excited that Master Lama Raji is coming to our life, both of our lives. And now you've got him to bounce things back off of, where to place these patches, where to place this stuff. We couldn't have a better team. I mean, we literally, and what most people don't know on this show is Steve helped develop 2G, 3G, and some of 4G patents for Texas Instrument. He ran 140 engineering team to do it he was there 23 years. So he knows what he's talking about. Again, I love this phone. I love how fast this is. And knowing I got that disc on the back, I feel good. But also, besides what you do, and I'm in the mid, I might as well say I'm in a jacuzzi of EMF. I mean, I am this screen is 49 inches long. I got a screen behind me, system there. My system weighs almost 200 pounds. It's got processing power like nobody could understand. I got EMF flying on me. And, I got the salt lamp, and I guess that's pretty much it. But, like, talk to people about, some of the things. And I know, first you, Master Lama Raji, what do you think about listening to what Steve's talking about with the EMFs and all of that and what it's doing, this negative frequency, like they pump out on the TV set, 440 hertz. They know, right? And it's bad for you, the 440.
A part of the big influence of the dark side, let's just say the dark side, right, has been trying to get the humans into the concept of splitting everything apart and teaching us more is better. Just think about in every way, shape, and form. You go put your gas in your car today, and let's say for whatever reason the card at the pump doesn't work. So now you have to go to the cash register. By the time you get to the cash register, you're past 5 or 6 synthetic energy drinks that are nothing more than full of caffeine, because they're trying to teach you more is better. Well, I'm sorry, but let's just take the day and night cycle. There's a reason we rest at night. And that part of that same reason would make sense to defend yourself against the bombardment of these negative rays that Stephen's talking about. I go into a rest cycle basically for basic reasons. Number one, the chi starts about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, going out of the solar cycle into the yin lunar cycle. And so what happens is about 3 a.m. in the morning, it starts at the root chakra, at about the coccyx, the tailbone. And it's every couple hours, it's following the pattern of the spine and the chakras and the endocrine gland system. So it works itself up. It gets to about the brain stem at about 1 p.m. From 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., it goes across right to the hypothalamus gland. And then every couple hours, it descends down to the next chakra if they're balanced, if they're spiritually and physically in good health and they're balanced. So we've got an energy body from the sternum that goes out 7 feet in all directions. And it looks like the shape of a navel orange grown in Florida, right? That's well, just happens to be the planet Earth. If you speak to astronauts, they will tell you, oh my God, the shape of the Earth is just like a navel orange. Does anybody think that's by accident? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the key of it is that when he was talking earlier, when y'all are talking about energy in the outer space, when Christ makes the statement, I go prepare a place for you, what he's saying is, when you're praying for someone or you're sending good healing energy out, we as a human dynamo work very much like the sun. You know, for years and years, scientists said the sun is its own ball of fire, and that's why it's so hot. Then this really interesting scientist came around in the 90s and said, you know, I think the sun's more like a quasar. I think the sun has the ability to electromagnetically pull heat from the Milky Way galaxy and just like an antenna, project that into the solar system. Well, guess what, my friends? Your soul, your sharat, does that exact same thing. So when I'm thinking about Jimmie and Steve in a positive way, and I'm thinking about the master of master, Master Rabbi Jesus says, go prepare. If I want myself to project my energy and comfort someone, that's what I can do. If I'm getting ready to travel, I go to see Jimmie next weekend in Austin, looking so much forward to that, being a part of the Rise tour and everything. You don't think a part of me is already not going to be there? Of course, because not only does the meridian grid run through your body, the 8th system of the body, but guess what? When you can see it, as your thoughts and energy goes out, like antennas and like electronic coils, they go out to who we're trying to heal and also to who we're getting ready to meet. Now, Master Rabbi Jesus, I go prepare a place for you means a lot more, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
So, Steve, tell us about what's going on with Bodyline. Show us the different things that you have and you're working on. I mean, people need to know about this. And I mean, I'm just excited to see. You can't even keep up with all the people that this is helping. So kind of explain to people what you got.
Yeah, let's go look at our flagship product. There are if you take Bodyline, you want you to think about, I'm going to divide it in two halves, the wellness side and then the protection side, Jimmie. So we have this large hologram that goes on the back of your phone. It's pretty simple. Bottom back of the phone, you put your case back over it. It's gone. No one sees it. It's providing you frequency signaling, okay? Just like an AM tower is going to do, just like an FM tower. It's going to provide over 300 natural frequencies to your body to protect you from damages caused by EMF, protects you from damages. We also have strips, Jimmie. They're about a third the size. They're rectangular strips. Okay, you're going to use those on non-cell phone electronics. Those are too big. If you have an iPad in your lap for a while, that's the way we typically use them. It's just too much. I put it on the phone because when this bad boy turns on, you need 3 times the surface area to protect your body. So the other ones are more than enough surface area to take care of business. But I really designed this one here to make certain that you got enough when this bad boy was turned on. So all of these products go just like you have, Jimmie. We like to put them on the device, but I want the device near the body. Now, Jimmie, if you took that device that you had and put it in the other room, it wouldn't do your the amount of signaling that your body would need. Right. So we want to keep it close. One on your monitor where you can see it is a good thing to put it on. If there's a computer on the floor underneath your desk cooking your testes, then you might want to put one on there. You don't need 15 in your room, Jimmie. You could easily get by with just 1 or 2 strategic place, and you're getting enough frequency management that you're not going to feel the kind of effects that you did. So, folks, if you're considering it, the discs for your cell phones, that's one product, and then when you buy the strips, you get 2. It's a bit of a discount, so you can use them in your iPads, your notebooks, your computers, your monitors, the things that are high energy for EMS, okay, that are near your body, and then you want to protect yourself. Okay, now let me take a transition over just as a Bodyline standpoint. Now that I got all this research done and I could figure out how to signal the body, I started creating wellness products, and we have 3 pieces in the family now, adding a couple more here right away. This is if you've seen this, probably flash by. This is our wellness band. This kind of bridges. This provides repair, so it directly signals the mitochondria, directly signals the blood to make certain that the body's repairing the damage caused by EMF. It's got well over 300 frequencies in it. It's an overall balance. So I give you the frequencies of melatonin and of red yeast rice and simple molecules like sodium, magnesium, potassium, complex molecules like CoQ10 and other rich amino acids and essential fatty acids, omega-3, 6, 9. I find those in nature, purify them, extract the frequencies, embed them in the products that we have, and broadcast them back to the body. So that's the good bridge product, and that's our #1 seller. And then we have, for certain issues going on with the body, where we're into dis-ease or we're out of homeostasis, we have the pain patch that you can use anywhere on your body where you have pain. It's about 1 inch by 1 inch, and you're just going to put it on the body where the pain is. Okay, Jimmie, I think you said you had one on your back of your neck now.
I got it on my neck. I got some here. I'm going to tell you something. I don't leave home without them, and I don't leave home. Okay. But I'll
we
show
have sleep patches that you would wear, and this is what the partnership has really done for us. Is I have spots on the body where I've learned to help with the natural biological things going on. So when I developed the sleep patches, I picked the gallbladder meridians right behind the ear. While talking to Master Lama Rasaji, it was easy. He goes, you could put it on the bottom, on the top of your foot, and you might have even better results. It's one is pulling energy out, the other one's pushing energy in. So the partnership is really going to help us cue in. There you go. That's your pain relief patch. Those are water resistant. You can put those on the pain center. And Jimmie, 87 to 95% of the people get significant pain relief. It's really good on inflammatory pain. It's really good on pain that's a single point, like arthritis and fibromyalgia and lupus, where the pain's all over. We're not very good yet. I'll be working with my friend Master Lama here to find ways and where the important signals are, okay, where we could put a hologram to help relieve pain throughout the entire body. But for now, these products are very unique for those high single point or multiple point pains where you can afford to put a patch on every location. Jimmie, we got an exciting product that's in trials now. It's a Purify Patch. It's a detox patch that you would wear. Right now, the best location would be below the navel and the concentric vessel right here. It would allow the body to push the body. So when it goes through its cycle, right as the energy center starts to move and hits the detox cycle, it's going to dump a ton of waste into your bloodstream so your liver and kidneys can get it out. Okay, you're going to notice that your breath might be bad, your body odor might pick up a little bit. You might notice some staining on your pillow. Your folks around you will say, "What are you doing? You have an air about you now that you didn't have." And this is your body going through its first stages of detox, getting out those natural things, heavy metals, light metals, chemicals, all the bad chemicals that we take in our food. This is going to, if the body don't want it, we're going to push the body to get rid of it for you.
Can I ask you a question, Steve? Because I'm part of the beta testing on this, and we're going to get Master Lama Raji all of this. And what I noticed was, and with my wife Cindy, it kept her calmer, and she was more. She's very calm, and I felt like really good. I mean, I'm feeling good. But then I noticed the breath, I noticed the urine, I noticed the smell, and so what's going on over here with this thing? I mean,
well, you know, when I select frequencies to give to the body, I have to get the body in a good state. Okay, so I'm going to give many of my products. I would say, I'll go on a limb. I would say all of my products have about 85% of the products that we use the same across the board, right? It's going to be the base layers of all the very, very unique molecules, the single molecule, single atom molecules that we're going to use, sodium, potassium, magnesium. And then we build a stack of 7 layers. And the higher you go, the more specific. So, Jimmie, your body is out of whack. And so as it's getting these signals from purification as well as from just the overall signals hitting a very sensitive location in our body, okay, it's pushing your body. And so when you're not in detox mode, your body's getting that energetic calming signal. And as your body goes into detox mode, it's actually taking over now, and it's really pushing your body. So you probably, if you could sense your galvanic skin response, it would be an all-time high in detox, whereas during the day, it would probably be pretty low because your body's much calmer. You're not getting that energetic skin response you would have if you were hooked up to a meter.
Right. And so one of the things that we're doing with this, and what's great about these patches, because I know before you had the discs, and they wouldn't stick on as well, right? Now these patches, I put one on the top of I call it my hump. You know, my wife said, "You're the humpback," you know, but it's for me leading over. You're the humpback from Notre Dame. But I put it on the hump, and I put it on right above my rear end on the bottom of the spinal cord. Now, folks, just so you understand, in 1994, I had an accident, and I was told that I had to go on Social Security disability, first workman's compensation. I was running a company. That's how I met my wife, Stanson Corporation in Pagoda, New Jersey. And I was told by the medical practitioners in the medical field, I went through all the testing. I mean, really, it was electrocuting me. They were doing all kinds of evil stuff to me with them doctors. And I was told that I needed to put a morphine pump on the side of my stomach, dripping morphine on my spinal cord for the rest of my life, and I'd be in a wheelchair. That's what they said was my future. That's not my future. I don't take any prescription drugs. Everything I utilize is energy wellness wise, herbals, liquid herbals. Okay. Like one thing, I was coughing, and Master Lama Raji said, "You need ginseng." And so I bought the best ginseng I can find, and I've been taking it, and wow, it's really working fantastic. And then I noticed also, Steve, with these here, it makes you spit some stuff up now. I mean, some stuff is coming up out of the body that is, is that good? I mean, what's going on?
The body's only got certain mechanism by which to expel toxins, right? It's going to break them down and flush them out the bloodstream through the urine. Okay. It's going to perspire them out of your body through your skin. Okay. We're going to pass it as a solid. Okay. Or we're going to reject it out of our mouths. Okay. That's about the limit. Now, there are certain toxins that can come out through tears. Okay. Which are another fluid that leaves the body. But there's only a few mechanisms. So, Jimmie, absolutely. There are things that the body's going to try to get rid of.
Yeah, and one of the things is since I've been doing these breathing exercises, the fire in the belly, My dad always taught me when I was lifting weights through high school and middle school, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. But I breathed in through the lungs, like for the chest. And since I've been doing what Master Lama Raji taught me to breathe through the stomach, like you're pumping a fire with one of those,
bellows, yeah.
bellows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sleeping like a baby. I woke up this morning at 5:55 in the morning. That's just amazing. But Cindy has had a massive problem with sleep because, she had her ovaries removed. She had her whole uterus removed. And, Master Lama Raji, we were talking about that. I don't know what she would do without the pain relief patches. I don't know what she would do without them. And also I noticed when she was wearing this and she's putting it on again. And sometimes she has these sleep discs and she'll I didn't sleep last night. You have a sleep patch on? Oh, no. Last night she put a sleep patch on. I got out of the office here at 8:00. She was out like a light. She woke up when I woke up this morning. And I said, well, maybe you need to keep these, a little closer and then pull it off in the morning, put it back on. What I love about these patches too is this pain patch, these two will be effective for like 3 days. I kid you not. And they're still there. And then you feel the pain start to return. And then in the shower, you can pull them off because I'm a hairy dude, and I pulled them off. It was like, I never been waxed ever in my life, but it felt a little bit like waxing. So I said, okay, the hump is clear. The lower back is clear of all hair. But because when they're not, I got pain coming up my side of my head. I've been diagnosed. I'm not going to give strength to what they say I've had. Okay. Because I'm not going to give any power to it. I'm not going to give any energy to it. But I just thank the creator that, this is real. And 2/3 of the world, like you've said, and like Master Lama Raji said, utilize energy wellness. We like to call it wellness because medicine has kind of got a bad, taste in everybody's mouth, but literally too, by the way. But the wellness of energy wellness is so freaking powerful. And then your thoughts, your positive vibration, your mindset, people don't understand. I don't think they really grasp what made in the creator's image really, truly means.
Yeah.
And I hope through the shows that we're doing, and Steve, we need you on here, brother. I mean, we want to have you as a guest. You know what we're doing. We're also doing it with you where you're going to be answering questions and all of that. Because people need to know this. I mean, they had me on so many drugs. I mean, it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month with the diagnosis that I'll be a wheelchair bound for the rest of my life with a morphine pump on it. And then I'd be on Social Security disability and just like a babbling, I wouldn't even know what I was doing. No, that's not my reality. And it's just like when you were told, Master Lama Raji, at 13 years old, I think you told me, the doctor said you would be dead by the time you're 18. And told
my mom, that I'd be in and out of the hospital my whole adolescent life. And, and he was sorry to say, don't expect him to live beyond his 18th birthday. And that was in 1974 when I graduated high school. Now that physician passed away about 15 years ago. I mean, who are you going to listen to, right?
Well, and also folks, if you want anything, want to get something from Body Line, these bands, Steve, I kept on saying, Steve, the bands, man, we have people waiting in, I kid you not, waiting in line for these bands. It's not it's not a demand issue. The demand issue is a massive issue. Steve, I think you got now 3 manufacturings rolling on it. He's getting that all caught up. But anything that you want, you get a 20% discount because of Master Lama Raji, and it's just let me make sure I tell you the right one, because I don't want to tell you the wrong one. It's just Lama Raji, and that gives you 20% off of already the low price that Steve has it for, because he makes these affordable for people, folks. Okay. I was talking to a guy that is a Patriot, since, I'm the Patriot on this show. And these two are, by the way, Patriots. They bleed red, white, and blue. And he was selling a device for EMF protection. It was about $350. And I reached out to him about a year ago, because I knew what Steve was working on. I had known him long enough. I've been involved with him long enough. And, you know, him and his partner, the first people in the world to ever put frequencies into a holographic disc that had a biological positive effect on the body. And then these bracelets that, you know, behind this technology, multiple college studies on professional athletes with amazing results. So I knew Steve is the kind of guy, he doesn't need to work. He can retire and just chill, but he cares about people. And I'm not going to tell you what he said to me yesterday about the medical beds, but this is the kind of guy with the brain power that can put those beds together that everybody's talking about. Absolutely 100%. And to see that people can get this so economically, and they don't have to pay $350 to put a jump drive in their thing. They have to just get this disc, or, you know, they don't have to go out and get on a bunch of medication. They can just take the pain away and all that. So I'm excited about it. You folks, if you need, you know, you want to protect yourself, please, I'm going to just put this discount code in there for you. Lama Raji, 20% off, all one word. And that will give you even a bigger discount on the already. You'll see the pricing is very low. I don't even know how Steve does it, but it's awesome. And, you know, the company's body aligned. So align your body, align your life. I think Master Lama Raji is saying that to you. I think Steve's saying that to you. And these are guys that you want to pay attention to. So any closing words, Master Lama, and then I'll go to you, Steve, and let you have the last words.
Well, I'm really excited. The conversations I've had with Steve over the last few weeks, and I've listened to Steve on Charlie Ward's show, and it's just he has a brilliant mind, and he has a humble spirit. And when you put those two together, and I'm also going to say this, I have found over the years that the people who accomplish the greatest good, and it purely comes from the heart, also have in common, Jimmie, what you said about Steve. They don't need to do this. They don't financially need. So it's driven by something that is more divinely connected. And that's where we are. Remember, in the Lord's Prayer, the part in the Lord's Prayer that signifies the age that we are in, on earth as it is in heaven, on earth as it is in heaven. And that's the call for the human race now, if we're all listening. So I'm really excited about working with Steve, and I'm really excited about the Patriot and the Lama show. So you guys tune in every week. And thank you so much, Steve, for being our guest today. Really appreciate you coming on.
Jimmie and Lama, thank you for having me. Folks, if I could leave you with one tiny thing, that I can do more with your body, with you, energetically than we can do chemically. Okay? Our bodies in Western world, Eastern world, I can't make that comment, but in the Western world, we're so far away from energetically connecting that we're so chemically connected. Okay? That I'm telling you, I can help your wellness. I can push your body to a level that it's never had before. Okay? Dr. Baer and Felix Hoffman created the first pharmaceutical. Okay? It was called acetylsilic acid. He took God's creation, silic acid, from the bark of a willow tree that the Native Americans exposed on how they manage pain. And he synthesized acetylsilic acid, which is synthetic. It's a non-natural molecule that we would take for pain, or now we take for stopping platelets to be building in our body if you have heart disease, right? It's called aspirin. Okay, the first real, besides alcohol, in my mind, it was the first pharmaceutical. And we've looked at pills and chemicals the way to balance our lives. I'm asking you, and I've provided proof, I've provided products, to join me now on the energetic side. Start to look. I can't wait to walk to the airport and see somebody with my band on. I can't wait to see somebody go, aren't you the guy, that bald-headed, short, fat guy that created these products that make my pain go away, make my hot flashes go away, make my allergies go away? All those kind of products are in our pipeline to bring to the marketplace over the next few months. And that's my ego. That's what drives me, right? Is the recognition and the reconnection. If I see you and you got a band on, I got a band on, we do not even have to talk in order to have an energetic moment, a spiritual moment.
Absolutely.
Okay, our eyes will connect it, but ultimately it will connect because your philosophy and thought of this band and my thought about energetic medicine are going to push us together. Jimmie, Lama, thank you very much. Hope you guys have a great day and a great week, and maybe we'll see you again soon.
Yep, absolutely, Stephen. Listen, we all love you.
Namaste.
We
Namaste.
love you all. Love and light to you and your family. Take care. Have a wonderful and blessed day, folks.